Welcome back, Tribe. Have a video here that's actually a good piggyback off the Philippine one we just did. So honest opinion after 2 years of living in the Philippines. So a lot of guys would have questions about, hey, dude, what is it really like out here in some of these foreign countries? From people that have been living there for a few years, can we get the truth on what's actually going on and what to expect? Because from the dating side, it's all looking great, but what's life like day to day? What are some things that we might be dealing with? So let's
Right, guys, today I'm just walking in the beautiful countryside. I've been asked a lot of questions by you guys. I get this question a lot, like about living in the Philippines, how much money do I need, I want to retire there, etc. So today we're just going to run through some of it. From my perspective, my point of view, I'm always as real and honest with you guys about everything as I can be. I don't need to like bullshit to you to get like views and just please the Filipino audience to grow my channel. It's not what I'm about. I just like to give my opinion, what I think of my experience here. So those of you who don't know the channel, I've lived in Philippines now for 2 years in Cebu City and in the province of Cebu as well, in the mountains. So I've lived in accommodation like what Filipinos would live in that cost like $80 a month. I've lived in more high-end condos, and also I've lived in the province where I am now, in the mountains. So for me, I think I've done quite a lot, different living conditions, so I can give you a good idea of like the pros and cons of living in the Philippines and what you should expect. So let's jump into it. We'll start with the cons, I suppose, because there are obviously a lot of cons, especially for like Western tourists coming. You will see a lot of videos on YouTube, of course. They always promote Philippines is a lovely country, which it is, but no one really like tells you like what the negative is, because they don't want to, I don't know, maybe upset Filipino viewers. But we just have to be real so people get some like good information.
Good.
So what would I say the negatives are? For me, a lot of people are going to come and think it's just like super cheap place to live. You're going to be able to come with like $1,000, $2,000 a month and live a great life, which you can, but it depends how you live. So if you're going to come and live in the province and live like a local Filipino, yeah, you can live for sure off $1,000 a month. But if you like your comforts like you have in US or Europe, you need a bit more, to be fair. So basically, condo wise, for me, having lived in 2 different countries in Asia and spent a lot of time in Vietnam also, I would say your money doesn't go that far here for what you get. So like, for example, for $300 to $500, you will get a great condo in Thailand and Vietnam with all the amenities, nice gym, nice swimming pool. In Philippines, sure, you can find it as well, but it's not up to the same standard. And normally the room is a lot smaller and basic. So that's one thing to take into consideration. You have to think where you want to live. Do you want to live in a condo? Do you want to live in the province? Are you okay to just live in a room like a local Filipino would? So everything depends really like how you want to live. Another con for me, being the foodie that I am, you guys that have watched my channel will know I am not a fussy guy at all with the food. I can eat anything. When I lived in Cebu City, to be honest, I ate in the carinderias most days. I've tried pretty much every Filipino food you could try. And when people ask me about Filipino food, what do I think? I always tell them the truth. For me, yeah, they have dishes that are nice, no doubt. But if you're a real foodie and food is important, I would say Philippines isn't the place to move. Like I said, I've had much better food in every different country in Southeast Asia, Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, Thailand. And for me, Philippines ranks more lower in the food. I always say this. How many people did you hear say, oh, let's go to a Filipino restaurant? So yeah, if you're a foodie, I would really consider that, because food's quite important to me. And sometimes I have a hard time here. Like, I'm not fussy at all. I can eat everything, but just for like pure enjoyment of eating, I would prefer to stay in another place. So if food is very important, you have to think about that. What else can I say? Medical for you oldies and you young ones as well. If you get into any accidents, if you have insurance, you'll be okay. Some of you will have seen the video where I got sick. I don't have insurance. I had to go to hospital. It's generally inexpensive. I stayed in hospital all day. I had to get hooked up to an IV drip, all the medications. It cost me like $200, including the ambulance to go to the hospital. So really cheap, like medical care. I wouldn't worry too much about it, as most of you are going to have insurance. And of course, the medical care is good. As you know, Filipino nurses are everywhere worldwide. They all speak English very well, so you will have no problems here with like medical care. So
for the basics. But if you have a chronic condition or you need specialized care, it's going to be an issue. So for the guys that are thinking about going overseas and you have a chronic condition, something for life or autoimmune, or you got a rare problem, yeah, you are going to run into exponentially more difficult scenarios when it comes to permanently residing overseas, as you have flare-ups or conditions that come about which require intensive care, specialized care. That's a very real issue, unfortunately, that lives in the West. As we get older, we're becoming far more sicker in general, but people aren't just dying, passing away in their sleep anymore. Like, chronic conditions are becoming common. People have all sorts of ailments. I mean, Western medicine is failing the average person. It's a reality of the world today.
I suppose that is a pro. Another thing I just want to emphasize as well. Many people really think the Philippines is dirt cheap. And guys, it is if you live like a Filipino, like I said before. But most Westerners that are coming here, they're not going to want to eat in Caranderas every day. Let's just be honest. They're going to want some home comfort. So when you're going to go to these restaurants and such, the price is a lot more than in other places in Asia. For me, for example, I've ate in restaurants in Vietnam. It's a hell of a lot cheaper than here in the Philippines. So if you're the kind of person who doesn't like to cook and likes to eat out every day, you have to take this into consideration too. But like I said before, if you come into the Philippines for the food, it's probably better to not. And for me, guys, when people ask me, I'll try and be as honest as I can when they ask me what's the biggest negative for me living in the Philippines? So what would be my biggest negative is just trying to get stuff done here. They say, you will have seen people say, oh, Philippines will teach you patience and that. I don't think it will teach you patience. I think it will test your patience for sure, especially coming from the West, where we're used to everything being done quick, 100 miles an hour. Here, you can go into a supermarket. It should be a 5-minute job and it'll take you half the day.
What?
Those who have lived here will know what I mean. There's a queue. There's thousands of staff, but there's still a queue in the supermarket. I don't know why it happens, but it just happens. Everything here runs on really slow time is the only way I can explain it. If you want to get anything done, I don't know, just simple tasks that you would think, oh, I'll go and do this and then go and do this. You'll probably end up only doing one and it'll take you half the day or the full day. It's just very common here in the Philippines.
I wonder if that's the price you pay to have a traditional society that values family above all else. Because we're so materialistic, hedonistic, and such a grind culture and get after it and get ahead. In the West, where everything does run the way he says, super quick, everything's done. We're all after profit, short-term thinking, now, that we sacrifice these things in life. Slow it the fuck down, cowboy. Relax. We'll get it done when it gets done. Right? The mentality, the way of life is completely different because they value completely different things. Maybe money is not the god to them over there. Profits and quarterly earnings and all that shit's irrelevant, Maybe treating each other like human beings, maybe that's valued more. Maybe that's the price you pay to still live in a somewhat functional conservative society. Trade-offs, there's trade-offs with everything. I wonder how much that has to do with it.
it doesn't seem to bother the local people too much. But I see a lot of Westerners, they're just like, oh, what's going on here? You know, you can see it in their face. So if you're not a very patient person, it is very hard. For me, I'm not so patient because like I've got stuff to do, you know. Like I see a lot of old guys who are retired here, like, oh, the foreigners are too impatient, da-da-da-da-da. It's okay if you're retired and you're just chilling and don't really have much to do with your life or don't want to do much with your life. But like when you've got stuff to do and places to be and like the bureaucracy here and all that, it's just a complete mess, to be honest. To get anything done just takes forever. So yeah, really take that into consideration as well. And yeah, that's pretty much it for me. That's the main negative for me. As I said to you before about the previous stuff, I'm not really fussy like where I live or with food. The food kind of gets on my nerves a bit after a bit. I think I just want to eat some nice food. And it's harder to get like such a variety as other countries. So guys, let's move on to a few of the positives about living in the Philippines. For me, the positives is the weather, although it's rain season now, but in Cebu, it doesn't rain that much. It's just like on and off, but the weather's great. You have this beautiful scenery. It never really drops below like 22 degrees. So it's like really hot all the time. So yeah, that's nice if you like the heat, which I do. Another pro is you're in a beautiful country. You can travel all around the Philippines, beautiful islands, mountains. Literally, the Philippines have everything you can imagine. It has like big cities like Manila. It has the islands with the clear water like El Nido, Palawan. Just have everything. You have the mountains up in Baguio. So if you live in here and you like to travel around a bit, it's great. You know, you can do it pretty much relatively cheap. Internal flights here don't cost so much. Sometimes if you book them last minute, they can, but if you plan in advance, you can fly everywhere pretty cheap. So that's a huge pro. You literally have everything on your kind of doorstep if you want it. Especially here in Cebu, you can just hop on the motorbike and go to Oslo, Malbo, all these kind of places. So we're pretty close to nice beaches everywhere. Another pro of living in the Philippines is, of course, what everyone says, the Filipino people. They're just so like welcoming, friendly. It doesn't matter where you go, to be honest. You guys will see my videos. I'll go into the areas. Hang on, what am I? I go into the areas where Filipinos even tell me, why are you going there? You should not really go there. But those who watch my videos will know. Always just friendly, welcoming, good vibes. It doesn't matter where you go, like what conditions the people are living in. They just try and welcome you into their home to give you food. So it's a really like nice environment to live in. You don't feel like really unsafe everywhere. Everyone's just like, hey, what's up, Americano? Hello, Joe. All this kind of thing. So yeah, really nice place. And everyone that lives in the Philippines or has visited the Philippines will know what I'm talking about. You just feel like everyone looks at you smiling, hey. So nice environment to live in for sure. I don't really know what else to say, guys, without like rambling on too much.
I was in Cebu and he's right. It's not as cheap as people make it sound. Thailand has the best value when it comes to housing and food in Asia. However, in the Philippines, most people speak basic English, which makes things more comfortable for me to stay for extended periods of time. You see trade-off. I'm a Westerner here 7 months now. The food is quite good and healthy. Yes, there are some things I don't like. Shrimp paste, whatever that is. It's laid back country. Depends on where you go in the Philippines. It's opposite to your experiences. I definitely will live here full time in Luzon after coming from Trinidad and Tobago, the Caribbean. General statement. Lots of people come here with the wrong mindset. You come here to live a simple, humble life like Filipinos do. Don't come here and try to change the country. It's a happy place with happy, contented people, no matter what little they have. So accept the life or find another place. That's why I will stay. I want a simple life with genuine people. Well said. I am living in the Phils for 20 years with a lot of joy. If you ask me about the negative feelings for me, it's the arrogancy, the money talking, no interest on the environment. It's like a garbage place. Traffic and driving, municipalities stealing the money from the poor with all the so-called taxes. There's almost no digitalization, so everything goes by many documents, which can be very frustrating in the corruption, but it's still a great place to live. I've lived in the Philippines for 10 years now. I rarely watch Philippine vlogs because I'm so tired of the sugarcoating nomads or the bitter old men, but I actually enjoyed your video and got both a thumbs up. Yeah, nice. Thanks for keeping it 100. I lived here for a little over 4 years, married to a Filipina, and we live in the Metro Manila area. A lot of bloggers try to skip over the bad parts to get more views, but I can tell your portrayal is honest. Keep up the good work. Yeah, I talk about the realities in Eastern Europe too. It's not as extreme in the Philippines. Obviously, this is far more developed part of the world, but you're paying far more as well. It's going to be way more expensive. Thailand seems like it's the best bang for your buck at the moment. It's extremely developed. It's extremely cheap. Beautiful country, beautiful weather. But if you want a slower pace of life, good old Balkan, Eastern Europe, time is slower here too, not to the extreme that guy was describing in the Philippines, but a different way of life. We still value family. Small businesses still reign supreme. You can meet the owners of every establishment you could pretty much go to. Corruption, bureaucracy, all that stuff is present, but it's present everywhere, unfortunately. This one says he's right about the food in the Philippines, at the bottom of Asian culture. I lived and worked in Asia for most of my life, in Taiwan, Philippines, 3 years in Manila, Chiang Mai, Hong Kong, Phnom Penh, Japan. It is bland and tends to be served lukewarm. Thank God for good Korean, Chinese, and Japanese restaurants. So for the foodies out there, that might be important. Believe me, no matter where you live, there's challenges and discomforts. You just have to adjust and accept what makes you comfortable. I can live just about anywhere and make it a comfortable life. Been there and done it. I'm now retired at 62 for 12 years now. I'm thinking of visiting my birth country, Laguna, Philippines. Watching your video is giving me a thought to visit. Yeah, basically. There's trade-offs, man. Wherever you go, nowhere is perfect. There is no such thing. The best that you can do with your Western salary is make use of the power of the dollar while you still can, and actually start living your life and becoming free for once and not working paycheck to paycheck and being able to go on a vacation here and there, go to the beach, spend money on entertainment, obviously. Things you can't really afford to do in America, especially if you're retired. Shit, most Americans only have $400 or don't even have $400 for an emergency. I mean, we're living paycheck to paycheck in the West. Surviving. That's actually the real word, for that. Surviving. You are surviving versus living. Thoughts on your guys' experiences going overseas, trade-offs that you've noticed. It'd be interesting to read some of those comments. Appreciate you guys tuning in. If you haven't, subscribe to the second channel. Join us on the private community for some calls. Appreciate everybody that's been buying shirts, doing private consultations. Links are all in the description below as usual. Take care of yourself, everybody. See you on the next one.